Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Well, this bald eagle for the longest time has been a symbol of our nation. And this painting is sort of a symbol of how our nation is feeling right now. There's a lot of anger. We are angry at the injustice that has gone on for too long. We're angry at people who don't seem to understand our point of view. We're angry at the unproductive violence and destructive looting that has been taking place in our communities. We're angry at our leaders, our media, and the damn virus. Well, I guess the first thing I want to say is it's okay to be angry. I'm reminded of the very first time Kim and I got a chance to go to Miami. It was our first visit, and we were excited to experience South Beach for the first time. And about 3 minutes after we set foot on the beach, the sky opened up and rain came down. It downpoured. Checked our phones, and sure enough, the weather forecast was going to be like that for the rest of the day. So we had no choice but to move on and put off our beach-going days for another time. Now, as we drove out of the city, Kim was driving. I was sitting in the passenger seat, sulking. The raindrops were racing across the windshield as if they were taunting me. I was depressed and mad and angry. And I was sort of guilty. I felt guilty about it because here I am, the guy who makes a living fighting adultitis, and I am in an adultitis-riddled pity party. I'm like, I should be able to let this roll right off of me. I am the hypocrite of the highest order, is what I kept thinking to myself. Then I gave myself permission to be kind to myself. I gave myself permission to sulk. I gave myself permission to be disappointed and to feel the hurt. It wasn't fun, but it was like I just needed to be angry. And I gave myself the chance to like imagine that the universe had literally conspired against me to bring the rain clouds and ruin my day. And I realized after about 15 minutes, it was kind of interesting. I started to feel a little bit better. I started to get perspective about some of the other things that Kim and I were going to be able to do in Miami. And I realized that this little thunderstorm, in the grand scheme of things, was one of the smallest things. Completely changed my perspective. Now, I'm all for being optimistic, putting on a happy face, being positive. But you know what? Putting on a happy face to mask some sadness is not all that different from using food or drugs or alcohol to mask or numb a deep pain. Problem is that those feelings are still there. They don't get addressed. They don't ever really go away. And in many cases, they bubble up later with devastating consequences. It's okay to feel all the feels. Right now, we're angry and we're hurt. People have been hurt by racism. People have been hurt by poverty. People have been hurt by political divisiveness. People have been hurt by this pandemic, physically, financially, and emotionally. One of the things Kim and I teach our kids, and in so remind ourselves, is that hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. Seems like times like this call for some sort of wise, inspirational quote of some sort. And you know, truth comes in many forms, and sometimes it comes in the form of a diminutive green Jedi Master. It was Yoda who said that fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. If you think about it, fear really has been the source of all of this, starting with a tiny virus that arrived uninvited several months ago. We're afraid. We're afraid that we might lose our life, our livelihood, or someone we love. We're afraid that what we have will be taken from us. We're afraid that we or someone we know, someone we love, will suffer at the hands of some great injustice. We've lost so much already, and we're afraid that we might lose even more. Meanwhile, for decades, we've been slyly tricked by dishonest leaders and dishonest media, drunk on power and ratings, to be afraid of the others, the ones who look different, vote different, and have different perspectives than us. Yoda was right. Hurt people hurt people. But the way forward is not to keep hurting one another. That's not who we are. We're America. We're a melting pot of beautiful cultures and diverse perspectives, unified under a banner of freedom and a spirit of courage, compassion, and cooperation. We're not perfect. But deep down, we are good. It's okay to be angry. But may God use that. May God give us the grace to transform it into a righteous anger that fuels ruthless, senseless acts of love. And that's my prescription tonight, is that every single one of us in the next day, in the next week, will instigate a ruthless, senseless act of love. What is that? That's something that doesn't make sense. It's doing something for someone else that they didn't see coming. Something that goes against the narrative we've been told and that we see on our TV screens and on our phones. I want to just leave you with one more quote. This one isn't from a wise Jedi master, but it is a wise person, a wise sage, someone who was an evangelist who was named John. And he said, "There is no fear in love. Perfect love drives out fear." If we banish our fear and commit to instigate small rebellions of love, there is no doubt in my mind that we will soar again.